And we are live. My name is Nicole Hagen. My co-host, Rob Ambrose. I'm too conservative for the Conservative Party. Rob's not woke enough for the Liberals. So here we are, the political orphans. Here are the top stories of the day. Almost half of Canadians want to eliminate the temporary foreign worker program. Carney surprises many by an appearance at a 26-kilometer long distance trail race. Authorities in the US just released a surveillance video of the Ukrainian refugees' murder on the train that's completely going viral everywhere. And at 9 p.m., one of my friends, former JTF2 assaulter and the owner of Direct Action, Randy Turner, is coming on the show to speak about Mark Carney's commitment of putting troops on the ground in the Ukraine and Latvia. Get your comments ready because the show starts now.
That's tonight, eh? I'd forgotten about that. That's sweet.
Yep.
Look forward to that chat. Trevor Benson says, cheers, boys. Catching you live today. How's it going?
What's going on?
What time is it going?
So let's talk about your gay-ass tattoo that you have on your neck there.
Yeah, I literally just finished it like 2 hours ago. I was in there all day. It's not... It goes down. No regrets, bro. No regrets.
Why the neck?
Oh, I love a neck tattoo. I love it. It's actually a phoenix. I don't know if you can see its wings.
Yeah. It's just I never got the neck tattoos. That's one thing I've never. You're
covered in everything else. Yeah.
It's just I have one. My legs are not. My legs are not done.
Let he who has no sin cast the first stone, bro.
Yeah, but the neck, I can't hide it. You can't hide the neck.
So my only thing is I want to be able to hide it in a collared shirt, and I can still hide it in a collared shirt. I figure the only time I'd ever want to hide the tattoos is if I'm wearing a collared shirt, like at an interview or something like that. So,
you're never getting another job again.
That's true.
With that on your neck, we really need to make sure this works.
Wow. Well, yeah.
At this point, there's no turning back, bro.
Yeah, that goes for both of us. As you know, there's no one. There's no one hiring. Anyone who's seen this show is not hiring either of us for sure.
Bro, it was way before this show for me.
Yeah.
Actually, this is tame. This is tame for me.
Alberta Independence. Good evening to you, Gary. How's it going, brother? Elizabeth, good to see you back. Hello to you.
What's going on?
Yes. Do we have any rabbit holes to jump down, or do we want to jump into it?
We'll just jump into it. But to answer your question, Randy's coming on at 9 p.m. 9 p.m.
1 hour.
So, yeah, we got 1 hour before he shows up, so we can probably do the three main subjects, actually. I'm ready to say, So let's start with this. This should be a short one. It's new abacus data that came out, and I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised. I just saw that maybe an hour before the show, but here's those are big letters. Abacus data poll Canadians divided on temporary foreign worker program as generational, regional, and political fault lines merge. So here's what's interesting. So let me, because it took me a second to realize what they were saying. So the question they asked is if people supported the idea of removing it. You know, when I saw support, oppose, I'm like, therefore the foreign worker program, and people oppose it. No. So the question is really, they have it somewhere right here.
Well, it says right there, I think under preamble.
Right there. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. So do you support or oppose eliminating the temporary foreign worker program in Canada? 44% of people, almost half of the respondents are saying yes.
But what a stupid question. Like, you can't, that doesn't mean anything, because I support it for certain industries like seasonal work and farming. That's what it's always been for, and it's worked well as that. It's just a nonsense way to frame it, to say, do you support it or not support it? I support it under the right circumstances and strongly oppose it under the circumstances that's being used right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like saying, do you support or oppose immigration? Well, I support immigration when it's done correctly. I oppose it when it's done incorrectly. and right now it's being done incorrectly.
Well, all to say that I was still very surprised. As much as the question is not well asked, I think it shows the
Well, yes.
in people because, and you know what's funny, before I continue, last week I spoke about the IMPs, about the International Mobility Program, and how it was 3 to 4 times more than the amount of than temporary worker program, how our students with work visas are literally 5 times more. I spoke about this more than a week ago. People are catching up. Now I'm seeing massive accounts talking about it now. So guys, if you want to have the news before people copy what I say, come here first. Because now people on Instagram won't stop talking about it. I'm like, guys, this is old news. I was talking about this last week. What the fuck are you guys doing? It just shows me that a lot of the conservatives out there, and I'm air quoting here, conservatives out there, they just repost what people say. They don't really do the research themselves. There's like, oh, this is trending, I need to talk about this. They don't go out of their way to do the research the way that I do. So guys, this is why you need to be here. This is why. But if you start digging into this even more, because just like that, it's like, hey, okay, whatever. They have it by age. So remember, green.
Let me guess.
Green is
the boomers
of destroying. Yeah, of course it is. What do you think?
The boomers.
What do you think? So you look at 18 to 9 to 29. You're looking at 48% of people want to scrap it. 30 to 44, you're looking at 50% of people want to scrap it. 45 to 59, 45%. And of course, 60 and over, you're looking at 36%. Or 37, my apologies.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, the question is framed poorly, but even still, what was the overall number? 22%? Like, I think that's pretty surprising because
44% of people want to get rid of it. 30% oppose it.
Wait, go up and see that again. You mean 30%, 44% support it, 30% oppose the temporary farm worker program. But that's actually surprising because
no, the other way around. That's why I said the question. The question they asked: do you support or oppose eliminating the temporary foreign worker program in Canada? So if you support, the 44% support eliminating the foreign worker program. If you oppose it, that means you want to keep it in place. That's why I was saying the question is not well asked. I know. It took me a second because all the headlines I was seeing, almost half the Canadians want to get rid of it. I'm like, is it not the other way around? But no, the question is very poorly worded. So the support 44% that you see is, do you support Pierre Poilievre's speech of eliminating the foreign worker program? That's basically what the question is.
Well, honestly, that's really surprising because I was going to say.
That's why I'm saying. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, even when I assumed it was the opposite, which meant 30% opposed the temporary foreign workers program, I thought that was high because, in that 44% of people who supported it are going to be people who probably don't support it the way it's being run, but do support it. Like, if you ask me the question, do I support the foreign workers program or oppose it, I'd probably say support because there are some contexts I would support it. But in the way that is relevant to today, I strongly oppose it because as in the way it's being run today, I strongly oppose it. So the fact that 44% support getting rid of it, I think that number is probably actually higher because in the 30% that oppose it, there's probably some people who don't want to get rid of it because they know it has some value for seasonal workers, but still are still very opposed to how it's being done right now.
Like you look, the neither portion is 18%.
Yeah, exactly.
So that might be where those people are.
Yes, okay.
So probably that in the neither, there's a portion of them that's just like I see a value similar to what you're saying. I'm part of the green at the top. Fuck this shit. Let's get rid of it. Let's can all those people and figure out what we can do going forward. I'm definitely in the 22% of people that want to eliminate it. But I also want to eliminate the International Mobility Program. I also want to eliminate the foreign the permit, the work permit that we give to international students. They shouldn't be able to work at all in Canada. If you can't afford to be here, don't fucking be here. We have no reasons to give the type of jobs I did when I was a teenager, when I first started working, and when I was in college, to people from a different country. We'll find the people. We'll find the people here.
Yeah. And like I said, where I said, like, I support it if it's done right for seasonal workers, blah blah blah. But if the question is posed to me, you can either scrap it or go along with the way it's being run right now, then I would choose scrap it. Clearly,
yeah.
If those are my two options, and I think there's a lot of people who might say they would support it, but if it would say the same, if those are the two options, they'll say, okay, just scrap it then.
Like if you look at the numbers here, they don't only do it by age group, but they also do it by province. Not surprisingly, Alberta.
Alberta is strongly supports scrapping it. The East Coast, the Atlantic provinces probably support keeping it. BC supports keeping it, and Ontario probably supports keeping it.
Not really. So BC is at 43% scrapping it.
Oh, shit.
Alberta is at 54% scrapping it. Saskatchewan/Manitoba, you're looking at 50-ish, like 49% wants to scrap it. Ontario is at 48% wants to scrap it.
Everybody wants
Quebec is at, it's Quebec. Fucking Frenchies.
Is it
Quebec? Are at 34%, bro.
I thought we could rely on the xenophobia of Quebecers to at least be smart on this issue. You know you're going to be retarded on every other issue, pipelines and stuff.
Je comprends pas. OK? Je comprends pas. Je comprends pas ce que tu dis là.
But yeah, that's wild. It's always been hard to kind of peg Quebec as, because they're clearly liberal, but they've definitely, like, they've had some conservative right-wing positions, notably the xenophobia. Like, usually on immigration, they're pretty right-wing because they don't want foreigners, right?
You know, the worst part is Quebec is extremely conservative, but they're like you. They don't want to call themselves conservatives.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like, we're liberal. We'll never vote conservative. But at the end of the day, they were ready.
Any brown foreigners here.
No, but they were ready to separate from the rest of the country because of French. They didn't have any other reasons. It's not the same separation. No, but it's not the same. It's not the same separation we're seeing from Alberta right now, that they've been fucked for 10 years by liberal policies. That's not what we're talking about. Quebec is a welfare state. Is the most welfare province/state in North America, and they want to separate because you don't speak the French.
Well, and I think there's a fundamental difference between Alberta and Quebec's separation, because I don't really think Quebec really ever actually wanted to separate. I think they wanted to use that as a tool to extract more shit from Canada,
and it worked.
And it worked beautifully. It worked beautifully.
Bien sûr it did.
Penguin P says Quebec lives off Alberta. They know how to play the game. Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, pretty much almost all of the equalization payments that Alberta pays just goes right over to Quebec. And
Ontario. They both go to Quebec and Ontario.
Yeah, for sure. That basically, the two biggest provinces, or I guess Quebec's not. Yeah, but
they're the two provinces with the most people. That's
most populous. Yeah,
that's their interpretation of how much money you get is by populace.
Yes, that's right, and that's so infuriating for Alberta, because on the one hand, they're happy to take Alberta's oil money in equalization payments, but the minute it came time to help Alberta by allowing Canada East pipeline through their province, no, we're not going to do that. Oh, but make sure that check keeps coming. By the way, like one thing that I hope comes out of this sovereignty thing, where they stay or go, and I think this is what's going to happen. I don't think Alberta stays. They probably, I don't know if they do stay, but if they do stay, there's no way they stay unless they scrap the equalization system. So one way or another, I think Quebec's going to have to get off the Alberta tit.
But we like them titties.
Oh, yeah. The Quebecers, they love those titties.
Well, yeah, I know there's not a lot of gay people here, so men do like the titties. Yes. It's not like in the East, in the maritime
Oh, please,
provinces
Quebec's full of. Well, they're not even gay. It's just they're all gay. Like
we're just French. We're
straight
just not
Quebecers are gay too, right? They're like, oh no, I'm straight. I just sleep with men sometimes. I'm French. Oh,
Man, we've been through this many times. If there's no eye contact, it ain't gay.
Yeah, that's the
Plus,
Quebec rule.
if you're not the one sucking it, it ain't gay.
Well, certainly in prison, that's how it goes.
Have you never seen Kumar, Harold and Kumar?
Oh,
That's where it's from. When they go to prison in the second, Big Bob.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Big Bob, you guys disgust me. What, you want us to suck your dick and we discuss you? Yeah, but it ain't gay if you're not the one sucking it. You guys disgust me. Big Bob. Big Bob.
Yep. Did they end up sucking it?
It's not a porn, bro.
Yeah.
It's a comedy.
All right, should we take a few comments or questions?
Absolutely.
No,
I was done with that topic. I was just impressed that 44% of people want to scrap the temporary.
I find that very surprising.
But that just shows that the average Canadian is extremely uneducated when it comes to policies, when it comes to politics, when it comes to what actually runs this country. So it's a matter of educating them. But it's been in the news for 2 weeks straight, right? Like it won't stop. It's everywhere you look, people are talking about it. So
yeah. No, it's I mean, it is surprising to see those kind of numbers, I think, even though just because it's the kind of policy that you'd expect would pull probably less than actually is out there. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be some people who do want to get rid of it, but feel they can't say it, right? The same reason why Donald Trump always underperforms his polls.
Yeah.
But so that seems really high to me.
I want to take a question here from Bumpy because hold on. So Bumpy's saying the GDP of Toronto is larger than the GDP of Alberta. Okay, sure. Technically it is, but you're comparing a province that's been capped by 10 years of liberal policies where they can't dig as much as they want. Plus, if you look at the GDP of Toronto, it's based on financial services, tech, manufacturing, real estate. So remove real estate because it's collapsing as we speak right now. Financial services, they can be done from wherever now. It doesn't really fucking matter. And yet you look at the primary driver of the GDP of Alberta, oil and gas, mining, agriculture. Three things, three natural resources that could make us a superpower. Our financial services, our tech, manufacturing, and real estate we're not a world player.
We're not going to be a superpower in any of that.
You can remove Toronto and the people from Toronto. Canada's going to do just fine if you enable Alberta to dig, and build pipelines.
That's a good way to look at it. You know, Canada could survive without Toronto. It could not survive without Alberta. But also, it's hard. You can't really compare the two in this conversation, right? Because like equalization, for example, is a provincial thing. It's not by cities, and the rest of the rest of Ontario drags down the overall GDP. And that's why that's why they get equalization payments.
I just think it's important to look beyond the numbers, to just say it is true that Toronto has a bigger GDP than the whole province of Alberta. Yes. But when you start looking at the GDP, one is actually would survive a finance. If you ask me, in a zombie apocalypse or in a situation where it matters, there's certain skills out there, like being able to fix cars, being a carpenter, being able to do plumbing, electricity, fix things is a skill that will survive. Tech services, financial services, real estate, that doesn't survive in the real world if you're not in a first world country is what I mean. If we want to become a superpower when it comes to innovation, push oil and gas extraction, push mining, push forestry, push. Yeah. The only thing that Ontario has is really the car manufacturing, but this ain't considered Toronto. You're talking now, you're going to start talking the GTA, which has 7.5-ish million people, if not more. That was 7 million years ago. So now you're starting to talk outside of Toronto. It's not really Toronto.
Yeah, well, and I remember there's a joke that I heard about economists, and I'll tell you now. And it actually, it's a joke. It's funny, but within the joke, it really shows the weakness of GDP, especially in the context we're talking about. So If I remember correctly, it's like, so two economists walking, I'll keep it quick. Two economists walking through the woods, and one of them says, they see a pile of dog shit. And one of them says, hey, I'll pay you $100 to eat that dog shit. And he says, okay. So he eats the shit, gives him $100. And then they keep walking and they see another piece of dog shit. And the other economist says, I'll give you $100 to eat that dog shit. He says, sure. He eats the shit. And then they're like, we just kind of both ate shit for nothing because they both ended up at exactly where they started. And the other economist says, sure, but on the bright side, we've increased GDP by $200. You know what I mean? And it shows you, especially when it comes to like real estate, just constantly shuffling properties around on leveraged dollars will increase GDP the way it's calculated, but that's not real wealth generated, right? If you buy a condo, an overpriced condo for 1.5 million, and then sell it next month for 2 million, GDP has gone up by 3.5 million in the GTA. But that's not really wealth creation, wealth generation, the way that extracting oil out of the ground is.
Our natural resources, no, absolutely no. This is why, again, we were talking about this yesterday, looking at Argentina, how they completely decimated their economy with extremely liberal policies, even communist policies. And now with, what's his name, Nile, they're looking at a 5% growth just this year alone because they're starting to extract their natural resources again. It's a no-brainer for us to be digging, to be drilling, to be cutting down trees. Like, it's a no fucking brainer. Build pipelines.
Yep,
east to west. Problem solved.
Penguin P says, hit the like button for these guys, and we're going to echo that. Guys, if you're watching, especially for the first time, welcome to the show. Throw some comments out there. This show is heavily based on audience participation. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us, throw it out there. We'll engage with you. Nico and I are trying to create a space here, a community where people of sane, common sense people all over the political spectrum can get together and have common sense discussions and try to just, get to the bottom of some of the problems facing society today. So please remember to like and share the stream. That should be a no-brainer. That costs you nothing. If you really want to support the show, if you really believe in what Nico and I are trying to do, and you want to help build this community, please consider becoming a member, which you can do for the low price of $2.99 per month. It costs like a small shitty coffee at Tim Hortons, and it will be much more enjoyable than that coffee.
Well, yeah, of course. And it will be served to you by Canadians. I mean,
we're Canadians are serving it to you.
Information served by Canadians.
Yes. There's no, actually, we're going to do an LMIA for a podcast.
Take some of the comments.
Yeah, there's so many,
bunch.
So many good ones.
We have time. Take some.
Let's just say, So Bumpy says Alberta will stay, won't get anything near what Quebec has achieved with the sovereignty movement. Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. The difference is, in my opinion, Alberta actually has a legitimate grievance. Quebec did not.
Even more than that, if Quebec left, nobody would have given a fuck.
No, we would be better off. We would probably be better off.
Probably Alberta would get to keep most of his money.
Yeah. Quebec would be much worse.
I wonder if Alberta would separate if Quebec would have separated. That's the question. I never thought about that question before, but if Quebec would have separated in the 90s,
probably not.
Would Alberta,
it seems like their biggest grievance is Quebec taking the equalization payments,
preventing them from building a pipeline down to the Atlantic, right? Because that's a big fucking thing. Because you're literally taking away access to Europe directly,
absolutely,
by preventing the Atlantic to be
and obviously if they were, what, I bet you Quebec would have been more likely. I bet you if Quebec is separate, they probably would have allowed the pipeline to be built because it would have been economic for them, right? Because it would have been just dollars and cents, whereas they wouldn't have gotten any major money out of the Energy East pipeline. Maybe some rent or something, but it's just the right thing to do for your fellow province, right? That's paying your bills. Trevor Benson says Quebec is sitting on so much resources and refuses to take them. Stop the payments until they start using them. Yeah, that's right. This is like a rich guy who is leaving his money in his bank account so that he can go on welfare. That's exactly what it is, right? They have money. They have resources. They're just, you know, they don't want to use their stuff. They don't want to use their money, their resources. So they'll just take
super
Alberta.
big on mining. We're super big on mining. We're super big on forestry. I think we're one of the biggest hydroelectricity producers in the world.
Yeah.
Like we literally supply the East Coast in the US. Like the Northeast is basically us. A big chunk of Ontario is supplied by hydroelectricity here. So there's no reason. We need throughout Canada, we need to start digging, we need to start drilling, we need to start taking advantage of the second biggest country on the planet with the third largest reserve of oil and gas. And I argue that we have the number one untapped resources, like natural resources in the world. Canada? I would argue that we're number one. Probably. Oh yeah. Those numbers don't exist. I look for those numbers when you start looking at everything that we have. And not only that, but naturally we're net zero. So we don't even need policies for that because we have so much fucking trees.
Yeah.
So we could just dig, drill, cut, and we'd be fine.
Yeah. Except we could
make a shit ton of money.
But we won't. No. Derek Sittler says, just an extremely poorly worded question referring to the main story that we started with, which was the temporary foreign working program. It was very weirdly worded, and I agree. It was probably done on purpose to push a narrative.
What?
The media being dishonest? Nah, I don't buy it.
I don't care that your leftist or rightist media has an agenda.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Bumpy says the issue with financial industry is that most of the bigwigs live in Toronto. The real estate market is going down, but the condo market is crashing hard.
And it's not building anymore. They're not only is it crashing, they're just sitting there. Buildings are not getting finished. It's insane.
But you know why? The big thing with the condo market is they're not built to actually live in. Developers realized like 10 or 20 years ago, people were buying them. Companies were buying them for investments, maybe renting them out or whatnot. But I think the average condo size went from like 1,500 square feet in the 90s to like 700 square feet today. They're closets.
It's the same thing in Quebec. It's the same thing in Montreal. It's the same thing. It's because you allow, plus Trudeau allowed foreign investors, especially from China, to store their money here outside of the country so that the communist country can't go after their cash.
Well, because those Chinese billionaires are not stupid. They know they're only billionaires so long as President Xi allows them to be. And so they need an escape route. So they you know, what better one than buy real estate in a safe foreign country. And there's a ton of Vancouver homes that are sitting empty because it's billionaires bought dozens of them.
Why would you ever want somebody to, if you're looking at the market over the past decades, you're looking at 10-15% increase year over year when it comes to the housing market. If you're looking at Ottawa, if you're looking at Montreal, you're looking at Vancouver, Toronto. I don't know in the East and the Maritimes how it is, but if you look at the main cities in Canada, it's 10 to 12%. It's absolutely fucking insane how big it has grown. Try getting that year over year in any investment with almost no risk. You don't want people to live into it. You don't want people to live in there. They're going to fuck it up. Plus, you need to manage it. You need to make sure. No, let it there. Just leave it in a bank account that makes 12% a year. No fucking brainer. Plus, you can do it from a different country. You don't even need to live here. That's a beautiful that's a beautiful business plan, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
Works great for them. That's great for Canada.
Not so much for us. No. But that's what you're seeing right now, right? You're going to see that major readjustment in those major areas like Montreal, Toronto, especially Toronto right now. Toronto is going to be suffering soon. It's going to be stupid in what's going to go on in Toronto soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it was meant to happen. You could see that bubble at one point was going to pop.
It had to happen.
Yeah, I just don't know to which extent. I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we've seen in 2008 in the US because
I don't think so.
Like we were pretty shielded. Yeah, but it was a very different reason. It's not because houses were simply overpriced. It's people couldn't fucking afford. Should have never had those houses in the first place, and they were upside down on their mortgage from one day to the other. Which could happen, but I don't think it's going to crash that hard. But even because 20%, if it readjusted like a 10-20%, that would surprise me.
It's because for the first time, the people issuing mortgages weren't holding on to them. They were giving out junk mortgages because they knew that they would just throw them into bonds, package the bonds, and sell them to foreign investors. And so up until then, if a bank gave a mortgage, they held on to the mortgage. So they wanted to make sure the guy could pay. Now they don't give a shit because they're going to sell them immediately. And it was just trillions of dog shit shoveled into the global economic system. So it's going to be bad, but yeah, it's not going to be that bad.
Right. I want to touch this one. Bumpy is saying that it's well in update. The victim was alleged a 3-year-old single mother. Child needs reconstructive surgery. The mayor of Welland wrote the feds and province pushing for stricter. This is not really update. I talked about that last week. Unfortunately, it was reported last week, but that whole story really pisses me off.
That's crazy.
If you guys want to listen to something, go listen to the episode we recorded on Saturday. We probably spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes on that. And we came up to the idea, and I'm going to ask the guys here, the guys in the comment section, and you, Rob. The question I asked the panelists was, why would someone not want the National Sex Offender Registry to be publicly available? Why?
Well, I mean, the argument is because you could have vigilantes or whatever. I don't care. I don't really care what happens to pedophiles. You know what I mean? Like,
if that was the case, that means that would be story after story after story in the U.S.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really a thing that's happening, right? Like maybe once in a while or whatever. But if once in a while a pedophile gets killed by a vigilante, but it saves a few dozen kids from being what happened to that young girl, I'm pretty.
I'm for it. I'm
okay. I'm totally.
I got no problem.
I'll sleep fine at night.
Yes, sir.
I don't really give a shit that much what happens to pedophiles. I understand, yes, rule of law, and if a vigilante does go and kill a pedophile, murder them at home, they should be charged with whatever the law says. But I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm not gonna morally judge him. I'm certainly not gonna give a shit. I just don't care that much about what happens to criminal pedophiles. I think it's so much of what's the problem with the justice system today is that the woke left has inversed where they've prioritized the needs and of the criminals and sacrificed the needs of the victims. And of course, I mean, when you do that, you see what we're seeing now. People getting out.
I guarantee you, man,
that guy who stabbed that Ukrainian.
I want to talk about that. Yeah.
The media, someone's got to talk about it. Like, that story is a perfect example of why shows like this exist and why shows like this. And when I say shows like that, I just mean independent media is so important because the mainstream media has not touched that, and that is an objectively newsworthy story.
Well, let's see. I wanted to talk about it. This is the second subject I wanted to bring up. Okay. Here's a video from
let's just seg into that
CNN to get a bit. Well, you gave me the perfect segue. So here's a video from CNN that talks about it.
Yeah,
but then I want to hear what you have to say because there's a lot of information that's coming out behind the scene as to who that guy is, because that guy, keep in mind, I don't know if they're going to talk about this, but that guy has been arrested more than 14 times prior to doing what he's done there.
Crazy,
like that. Like, people are comparing this story to no, but do you remember Neely versus what was the name of the ex-Marine that choked Jordan Neely?
Oh yes,
and he ended up killing them in the metro, in the subway.
Daniel Penny.
This people are saying, so basically, this is what Penny could have done. That because people are looking, they're like, if you remember, that guy's a drug addict.
Yeah,
you don't know what's going on through their heads. He's homeless, is a drug addict. You do not. That girl did nothing wrong. She sat there. Hey, by the way, guys, if you do that type of stuff, never do what that woman does. Do not walk around in a place with your headphones on, not paying attention to the people around you.
Yeah,
that is one thing I will never do. You won't see me walking around with my cell phone like a zombie in the street because I'm too paranoid. I need to look at what the people do around me. And man, you see the guy just sitting she was unlucky. Let's be honest here.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not something that should ever happen, but she never saw it coming. She never saw it coming because she was not paying attention. The headphones were on and she's down on her cell phone, not paying attention to what's going on around her. This is a no-no. In self-defense, this situational awareness is everything in self-defense. But I'm not blaming the victim here. I'm just FYI to the people out there. Don't do that. Don't walk around with your headphones. I see it every day. People walking around with their headphones stuck in their cell phone, not paying attention. Could be a car, could be a bike that runs you over. Pay attention around you.
Yeah.
And this morning.
No, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I was just saying, it's unfortunate that, it shouldn't have to be that way.
No,
but
agreed, 100%. Yeah. Those stories remind me why I pay attention.
Yes.
Captured on video. I want you to warn you that this is disturbing. It is very graphic. This is surveillance footage moments before a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee was stabbed to death aboard a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, after she boards the train in her work uniform, she sits in front of her alleged killer. And after a few moments, in a seemingly just random act, the suspect pulls out a knife and attacks her.
Heartbreaking indeed. I want to go live to CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller, who's joining us from New York. John, what do we know, first of all?
One thing, allegedly, like, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I saw the video. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw the real video. We can't show that on YouTube. You're not going to find it anywhere. You have to dig to find it. But, yeah.
He just punches a knife into her neck, eh?
It's not allegedly when you have him on camera doing it.
Yeah.
Allegedly would be no camera. Camera like that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. If you don't know, for sure, okay. But when we know for sure, so let's finish the video and then because I've got some things to say.
I got things to say. Okay, let's do it.
About this horrible attack and the alleged assailant.
Well, this happened back on August 22nd. The assailant, who's charged with murder in this case, is Carlos Brown, 34 years old. He's got 14 arrests in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. He just finished a 6-year stint for an armed gunpoint robbery and got out of jail a couple of years ago. And what we're trying to learn is more about what his encounters with law enforcement on the street have been since the time he was released from prison up until this incident.
The attack, as you know, John, has set off a political firestorm about crime in Democratic-led cities across the United States. How is this playing out?
Well, if you look at Charlotte, their crime is actually taking a dramatic turn in the right direction. Their murders down 29% as of the July numbers I read through. Aggravated assault, which would capture stabbings, shootings, and other assaults, is down 25%. So you look at Charlotte, and like many of these cities that are telling this story, their violent crime is trending in the right direction. Their property crime, burglaries, car theft, you see slight increases in, but they have a very dynamic police department there that has a combination of assertive policing, precision policing, directed patrols, but also community policing involving youth outreach for juvenile delinquency and other things. So this is not one of those cities that is asleep at the switch on crime. What this is a terribly tragic, dramatic, terrible event captured on video, which is being magnified to send a certain message.
Yeah. Certainly.
So I'm going to stop him right there because this is so much full of shit. And let me show you why. One of my followers sent me this morning, and you'll understand how much full of shit they actually are. Because if you start looking at right here, so this is allegedly, because this has not been proven yet. But that woman that you see there, Teresa A. Stoke, is a judge from, she is from that area. And the 14-time criminal who went to butcher that Ukrainian refugee is also listed, Stoke, is also listed as the director of operation at Second Chances Services, a Charlotte clinic for mental health and addiction, And guess who was part of it?
Who?
That dude.
Oh,
So
really?
supposedly that there's a connection between her and him for releasing him. And he was part of that program. So people are starting to call for a problem with conflict of interest. So the judge released that guy because he was part of that program that she is on the board of director. You know, when we talk about like the judges that like, oh, bro, you tried to sleep with a 15-year-old, but she was an undercover cop. Don't worry about it because we don't want to hurt your citizenship application. Those judges should go to jail. If that is true, because this is allegedly, I will say allegedly, because that has not been proven what's said there.
Yeah.
But if that is true, that judge should be in jail. If you released a guy like that because he was part of your mental health program, that you're also on the board of director, and he ended up killing that young woman, you deserve to go to jail for the same fucking thing he committed. Same thing in Canada for that Welland judge or the parole board that released Daniel Senecal.
Mm-hmm.
Within 6 months, he raped a 12-year-old, got 1.5 years in prison, was released after 1 year, 6 months early of an 18 months jail time for raping a 12-year-old. 6 months after, he's raping a 3-year-old. That judge, that parole board, they should be all in fucking jail. Like, I'm tired of seeing this shit all over the place. And then you have fucking CNN that's downplaying it. Oh, people are exaggerating. Well, guess what, motherfucker? If that's true, your system is so fucking corrupt that your own judges are releasing those people. They should be held accountable. There needs to be consequences for those fucking liberal judges, woke judges out there that keep releasing guys like that 14 times.
Yeah.
He's been arrested 14 times. Like, what is it going to take for people to understand that those guys don't want to change? They don't want to be rehabilitated. Just like Daniel Senecal, that dude, sure, you don't believe in the death penalty? I get it. You don't want the government to have that power? I get it. Throw away the key. Put him in general population, throw away the key, whatever the fuck happens to him, I don't care. Have pedophile tattooed on his forehead to make sure that everybody knows what he's done. Throw him in there, let it happen. Whatever happens, I don't care. I don't care.
I don't, I don't see any reason why this guy should ever see the light of day. Honestly, I don't really even see a reason why the state should keep him alive. I would be completely okay with him getting the death penalty and not 15 years down the road. Like, yeah, of course, he gets due process. Give him a fair trial. A fair trial and an 100%. Appeal, that can be done in 2 months and then executed 2 months and 1 day from now. I'd be okay with that. This guy is just there's just no rehabilitation for him. There's no hope for him. There's just no need to spend any ounce of empathy or sympathy or trying to understand him or anything like that. But of course they're gonna say, oh, someone said up here. Shit, there's a lot of comments tonight. See if I can find it. I think it was
People
Bumpy.
are on fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He said in quotation marks, so he's being silly, or he's making fun of. But he said he's the real victim. He's endured a life of being black in a white supremacist nation, and there are people who are saying things,
Daniel
basically
Penny,
like that.
Daniel Penny is exactly what they were saying.
Yeah.
That guy. Oh, it's not his fault that he's a drug addict, homeless with mental health issues, that the doctors keep on releasing them because we don't want to have asylums anymore. We don't want to have to hold people in asylums where they belong. So, I spent a lot of time in Texas. We were in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
A few years prior to us going there, the liberal mayor opened up the crazy asylums, closed them all down, and released the people in the general population. So now you have a bunch of homeless people with massive mental health issues on almost every street corner in Austin, Texas. It used to be a super nice city, super fucking conservative. It's in fucking Texas after all. But then just the Gold's Gym where I used to work out, I used to live I had to leave my motorcycle corner streets further from the gym because there was a massive amount of, street corners are all connected. where people, I've come back with shit on my 25 grand motorcycle. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, are you serious? Keep your fucking shit off my bike. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? But people are there and they're screaming at each other almost every day. There's police officers around there because they have serious mental issues. Like, those people should not be in the street drinking alcohol, smoking weed, doing crack, whatever it is, the drugs that they do. They shouldn't be. Somebody should take care of them, but they should be in a restricted environment where people can actually try to help them at least.
Yeah. I mean, like asylums, right? You know, there's you don't have to make them like shitty like the old days, but just a place to keep people like that off the streets. There has to be a place. Like, you don't want to put them in jail, okay, sure, put them somewhere. Just they need to be kept away from society.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Like, it's okay for regular people with no mental illnesses to be safe, to at least have the possibility of being safe.
Yeah.
Like, to have the possibility. Safe space don't exist, but at least I want to know that the people at B, my leaders, are doing everything they can, that I don't get stabbed in the bus by somebody with a mental illness because he's been released time and time again when that dude should be in prison or in an asylum somewhere. That woman should have never had died. It's not like that's the first time he does something. He's been arrested 14 times. It's a well-known fact that he has mental illnesses. What the fuck was he doing on the street? Whoever released that guy, if it is that woman, Teresa A. Stokes, jail that fucking woman. Put her in jail. Start giving consequences to those woke judges that, oh, poor criminal. Fuck this shit. If I'm not allowed to be vigilant, if Daniel Penny is not allowed to defend a bus against Neely, if you can't self-defend yourself, self-defend yourself. Jesus Christ. Jesus, that's a Robbie right there.
Like me.
God damn. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? If you're not allowed to defend yourself, why are those people out? Like, those people are out and I can't defend myself.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You can't have the crazies walking around and then tie people's hands behind the back and not let them protect themselves, defend their homes and defend their families. That's crazy.
There's somebody that wrote Gotham City.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That is bang on. Like, I know exactly what you're saying. Crazies everywhere, and somehow the victim is the problem. Somehow.
Yeah.
We need
right.
I'm Batman. We need Batman.
We need the Batman.
And we need the Christian Bale Batman, not the Michael Keaton homo Batman. The Christian Bale Batman.
What about the Robert Pattinson Batman?
No, that guy's such a twat.
I don't think I've ever even seen that one. It's like it just disappeared.
Oh no, but he's not believable. He's a little scrawny guy that I like. Literally, I would use him to wipe my ass in the morning. Yes, exactly.
Twilight cannot be Batman.
The same vampire that shined in the sun is now the Cape Crusader. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
You know that meme where it shows what I grew up on? The Arnold, the Sylvester Stallone, the shit. The guy that played the Russian in Rocky. Like, I grew up watching guys that are bigger than life, super muscular, badass dudes with guns. Now, the superheroes are a bunch of little liberal twats, like woke twats that weigh 145 pounds soaking wet. Like, no, we're not the same. We're not the same.
Yeah. Bumpy says Robert Pattinson is a good actor. He actually is a good actor. I just don't buy him as Batman.
I don't buy him as somebody that's gonna kick anybody's ass.
No,
that's what I don't buy. Because he is a good actor. I agree with you. He's actually a really good actor, just like the kid from Harry Potter. But I don't believe that the kid from Harry Potter should play a mini Batman.
No. Jason says, Drago. I must break
Jason.
If he dies, he dies.
He dies. One of the best movies ever, Rocky IV.
Yeah,
gotta love Rocky IV.
It was devastating when Apollo died, man. Just died and fucking get kills in the ring, man.
Yep.
But yeah, he's like a piece of steel. Trying to fighting Rocky there. Yeah, that was probably my favorite of all the Rockies, to be honest.
It is I like that one and Balboa. When he's older, he owns a restaurant and he fights again. Like he's like in his 60s and he fights again. I really like that one.
Oh,
I
does
really
he?
like that one. Oh, Balboa, I think is my
Jesus.
favorite. After Rocky
Jesus.
4 and Balboa are probably my two favorites. Just because he's old and he gives a speech to his son. That's probably
Nice.
the best speech ever said, where like nothing's gonna hit you as hard as life. It's not how hard you can get hit, it's how hard you can get hit and still keep moving forward. That speech is just fucking epic. Like his son's like a little bitch, and he goes home after that. He just goes home and cries in his bed like a little bitch because Rocky smacked him with words. It's awesome. Hey, done
all
with
right,
we're done with the movie speeches. I'm done.
Yeah, we're done that rabbit hole. I think we got 7 minutes for the.
We'll do a
guest
quick
show.
one.
Yeah, let's
We'll do a quick one because this one we need to talk about it. Really, not because I want to, but because it's fucking hilarious. Okay, I kind of wanted. I want to speak about it. I lied.
Yep.
So I don't know. Did you see this morning? Carney surprises many by appearance at long distance trail race, and people on the left are all, "Ooh, this is the type of leader that I want. Pierre Poilievre would never run." And you know, all I could see is like, look at those moves, bro. All I could see is look at them titties.
Yeah, maybe he's transitioning.
But you know, your political career is not doing very well where you need good publicity, so you go run 26 kilometers. He had to go run 26 kilometers over the weekend in order for mainstream media to speak good about him. That's what it was. That's a photo op. You know, he did not want to go running. Nobody fucking runs 26 kilometers for fun on a Saturday when they're sane of mind. I used to run that because I was fighting. I was crazy. I didn't fucking want to run. It was just good for me. The people that run for shits and giggles are fucking crazy, man. There's something wrong with those people.
Jason says Victoria's Secret has a new bra for those B cups. Yeah,
he does have little moves.
Yeah, they were bouncing, I think.
But how bad are you doing in the polls when not only the conservative and the liberals are head to head in the new polls, but you have to go run 26 kilometers so that people have something good to say about you? Because even CTV News now is questioning the liberal government. They literally get more than 100 million every year from the Liberal Party, and they're questioning them in their faces. That's how bad they've become. So,
really, hold on. This is from Tyson Sangster. Also, I think this might be your first time commenting. I don't recognize it, but welcome to the show.
Yep.
Hopefully, you stick around.
Yep.
It says France's government just collapsed today. It looks like the Conservative Party is poised to take over there. Is that the Marianne Le Pen's party?
No, Marianne Le Pen has nothing. No.
Okay.
Hold on. We have 5 minutes. That's one of the things, you know, I prepare for this shit. I was born to do this.
That's big news. That's a big story. There's a lot of stuff going on in Europe, like the AfD politicians.
There you go.
Getting killed.
Here you go. I got a video all queued up for this because I wanted to talk about it. So here is what Tyson Sangster is talking about.
Alex, we are going to bring the results live. Let's take a listen.
194 against 354. The National Assembly has not approved.
194 versus 364.
Oh, that government collapsed hard.
That's a vote of a non-confidence.
That's like zero, absolutely no confidence.
They voted 364 against the government. That's fucked. That's crazy.
194 for, 264 against.
Oh wow!
Prime Minister most
and
now.
I don't know enough about French
his
politics,
resignation.
you know, like what parties or what, but that's. I mean, a lot of his own party has to be voting against him to get a number like that.
The thing I was seeing is because over there they do have a president as well as a prime minister.
Okay, so it's not Macron.
Macron is the prime minister of France.
Okay.
That's the president. But now I've seen some calls for Macron to step down. So it is not going well in France. Yeah. But this was trending today. So I want to do more research to try to understand. I'd love to have somebody. No, he's not the president. He's not the president, Bumpy. They were saying that the name of the president is... Oh shit! No, sorry, you're right. Sorry, Bumpy,
So
you're
it's
right.
the
So
it's the
Macron's
French
the
prime
president.
minister.
This is
Yeah.
the Prime Minister François Bayrou.
Okay.
I can't say that word in English for you guys. François Bayrou, but François Bayrou is the Prime Minister. You're right, Bumpy. So Macron's the president. The PM is François Bayrou, and that's who they're going to vote a vote of non-confidence against him.
Wow. That's that
It's the implication. I don't know enough about the French government to know what happens if the PM falls. What does that say about the president?
yeah, yeah, it does,
Because
yeah, exactly.
Macron's a tool. Macron's a tool. He's like best friends with Carney. I just want to see Macron get kicked out. That's what I want to see. I want him
Well,
to have to quit in shame.
yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what this means, but it can't be good for him. LOL says, if you look at UK, France, Germany, Islam are getting their ways. Yeah, they are. But I also think that there's a huge backlash brewing. I bet you that there's a connection between that backlash and this the French government falling here, or the PM losing no confidence. It's why Reform Party is way up in the polls. It's why AfD over in Germany is doing really well. And the fact of the matter is it is probably going to be the biggest political issue over the next couple of years, because the natives are getting sick of it, right? There's at some point there's only so much demographic change overnight that you can put up with. Migrant hotels in your neighborhood, the rape rate increase like between 500 and 700% over the last 25 years in France, in Germany, in the UK. The only place it dropped in Europe is in Poland, the one country that refuses to accept mass numbers of Muslim migrants. So, I mean, you don't need to be a detective here to connect the dots. When you import large numbers of people from a culture that treat women as property, where women are regularly stoned to death in public, there's no taboo against it for accusations of adultery. Yeah, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see this. These people are fundamentally not aligned with Western values, with feminist values, with progressive values. It boggles my mind why it's progressives that are holding the door open for them, because they hate everything progressives stand for. And progressives are going to be in for a very rude awakening if and when they do get those majorities. And look at Dearborn, Michigan. It's a microcosm. It's just one city. But as soon as the progressive, they elected in Dearborn this large Muslim, like a Muslim mayor and Muslim town council, they banned all the pride flags and all, and the progressive like, duh, what? I don't understand. We thought we were best friends. And the Muslims like, no, you idiots, we used you.
So basically, I'm looking at a bit of French politics here. So now there's been a vote of no confidence. So under Article 49 of the French Constitution, if Bayrou is actually kicked out, like at what I'm understanding here, the whole entire government must resign. That means that if he's getting
Including
kicked
Macron?
out under... No, but Macron's the president. He's the president of hold on, let me see, because I had it somewhere here. So the president accepted the resignation, so he's being kicked out. He resigned. I think that he resigned today. And the resignation was formally submitted to Emmanuel Macron, who accepted it on September 8th, which is today. So there's going to be a new prime minister that's appointed, but this new one was just appointed in December. So it's going to be they're saying that the political instability, because now you're starting to see non-confidence in the government. Was the value for the people? I'm not too worried about the people that are in parliament. I'm more interested in seeing what the people on the street are going to start doing.
Well, and you look at the UK, which
that's been going on for a while. Like in the last election, when Macron barely won, he was going against a rightist. I can't remember what his name was, but that guy was brilliant. If you understood French, he was what we need in Canada, a very well-spoken individual wanted to stop the immigration, wanted to put a hold on all the problems and bring it back to a French nation. One of his speeches that he gave during his campaign was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I'm really curious to see what that's going to mean for Macron. That's what I'm curious to see, if that means he's going to fall, because that's what I want to see.
You know, Elizabeth Rochert says no confidence in the world about now. Yeah, and it's, you know, the term no confidence is a procedural term, but it really fits. There's literally no confidence right now, I think, in the global system among pretty much everyone on the right, even a lot of people on the left, you know, the common sense ones who are looking at, like, remember, you know, last week we talked about, you know, I brought up, like, I just think it's really weird how in around 2020, every single Western nation all enacted this open borders policy. If you look at the graphs, every single country, Germany, UK, America, Canada, Australia, had this massive immigration spike in 2020, and it hadn't stopped. And it's just really weird that you have this policy that gets implemented all across the Western world with no public discussion. There was no public buy-in. No one ran a campaign on it. It just happened. So, like, you can't look at that. And again, I say this all the time. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you can't look at that and say there's no connection. Of course there is, man. Of course there's a connection. And then you see, you know, I heard someone on X say, it's really interesting how, like, it seems like all the countries in the Western world, except maybe America, are all collapsing in the same way. And it's just, it's one of those things where you can't see it, but you know it's there, this connection. And, you know, whatever is going on in the West right now, all the dominoes are falling at once. And you know, whatever's going on in France with this fall government, you'd expect to see it spread. Like the UK is like a tinderbox right now. They're arresting people for mean tweets.
Yep.
People are furious. They're calling people who have the St. George's flag, the flag of their home nation.
Yep.
They're calling them racist. They're calling them terrorists. Like, shit's going down all over the West. And I don't know, man. There's something palpable beneath the surface, even if we don't. Maybe you can't put your finger on it, but you know it's there.
But to go back to the French issue that's going on, the president role is unaffected. Constitutionally, Macron was elected in 2022 for a 5-year term, ending in 2027. So he can't be removed by this vote. So nothing's going to happen with Macron. But it starts, if the new PM was just elected in December, now he's getting kicked out because of a bullshit, what do you call it? A budget that didn't like. People are like, you're out. So Randy, ready to go? Thumbs up. You can hear us, but we can't hear you, but I see you. You ready to go? Randy? Thumbs up. Hold on. Let's bring him. So here is former here's former JTF2 assaulter and the owner of Direct Action, Randy Turner. What is going on, brother? What's going on?
Hey, what's happening? Thanks for taking the time, Randy. Not about how you doing?
No. Good, thanks.
Bro, it's been a while, man. Nice to see you.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute. How you been?
Bro, we're doing this every day.
Good to see you keeping up the streak, Nico, of bald guests. We had someone the other day.
Yes.
We had someone the other day say, "You guys, you can have guests that aren't bald." It seems like every guest we have here is just a bunch of bald guys shooting the shit, which is really the theme of the show.
Low maintenance.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what happens when you use your brain a lot. Your hair falls out.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Grass doesn't.
That's bro science. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm the scientist that proved it. I wanted to have you on because of your background as a JTF2 assaulter. And the reason I wanted you on is because of what Mark Carney has been saying as he's going through Europe. He's talking about, so we have troops in Latvia. Now he keeps on talking about how he wants to put troops in the Ukraine to go fight the Russian army. And Rob is he's former military. in the
Yep.
Canadian Army.
Yep.
And he thinks it's absolutely ridiculous. He still has some buddies that are in the Army, but what do you think about this? Because please explain to guys like me, the non-military people, what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, I didn't see what was reported or what he said, but I'll take your word for it. If he's suggesting and using those words, like
Yes.
Canada and Canadian Army, Canadian Armed Forces fighting, well, that's not happening anytime soon. We don't have a fighting force currently.
No.
We don't have a functioning force currently that is organized or even resourced properly to be a legitimate fighting force. So those are I would say loose words with no actionable anything tangible to support it. So I don't know what was the motivation, or I don't even know the context of what drove the conversation and with whom, but just based on what you just shared with me, I wouldn't say it's laughable, but I would say it's nothing to take serious. Like, Canada is not in a position to provide a fighting force right now.
No.
Well,
I
let
mean,
me,
go ahead.
before, if you haven't seen the video, let me give you a video right here to give you a bit of context.
Sure.
So this is the video. This is one of the many videos he talked about it, but I'll play this, then we can talk. Then you can tell us what you think.
Sure.
Putin can be stopped.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was the guest of honor at Ukraine's Independence Day with a message of reassurance for Ukrainians.
When that peace comes, and it will come, that day will come, Canada will be there.
The Prime Minister offered new details about the $2 billion promised to Ukraine at the G7, money for ammunition, armored vehicles, and drones, including made in Canada drones, some equipment arriving next month. Canada will pay for a $680 million NATO-requested package of American military equipment, and there's $31 million in humanitarian aid. And at a press conference after the speech, he was his most specific yet about Canadian commitments for security guarantees in a ceasefire.
We are working through with our allies in Coalition of the Willing and with Ukraine the modalities of those security guarantees on land, in the air, and the sea. And I would not exclude the presence of troops.
And that should encourage.
So I would not exclude sending troops to the Ukraine, and he refers to it as the coalition of the willing because he can't call it NATO, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I think in circumstances like this, it's easy for somebody in his position to make a stance and say, we're going to put troops in Ukraine, whether that's a handful of troops so he can actually say that there are troops in the country. What they're actually doing and what they're allowed to do, that piece doesn't get reported, because the reality is it'll be a skeleton crew at best. They'll be given very strict limitations on where they can operate, how they can operate, what they can do. So from the political perspective, it's easy for them to say, yeah, we have troops in the country, we're doing our part. No, you're not. And if you're giving that money away, that money that could be used for our troops on our soil and protect our people. So misallocation, of funds, immature use of funds, it's borderline laughable.
Yeah, I mean, I think how he intended it, as Moons Zanata makes a comment here, said he did not use those words, he meant peacekeeping. Yeah, I think that's technically true. But if you're talking about putting peacekeeping force in a buffer zone between two war nations, they have to be equipped to fight. But that just seems really almost incendiary or some sort of looking for trouble there, right? You're putting NATO troops in the middle of the Russia-Ukraine war, which, certainly NATO encroaching on Ukraine and Russia is part of the reason the war started in the first place. It just seems like, very little reward for a massive amount of risk. Because once, let's say, your JTF, I'm sure you've seen action, probably many places. How even if two sides are not intending to fight, how shit can spiral pretty quickly, right? A rock falls over there. a spooked guy shoots and now they're shooting. Now it's, I forget what article is, Article 7 or whatever. Now NATO's has to declare war on Russia. It's just so there's no good reason for it. And even if there was good reason for it, practically speaking, you know, as you said, we just don't have the troops. You'll appreciate this. We had this debate a couple weeks ago. One of the commenters or a couple were saying that, you know, that Canada has a shot against the U.S. military if they invaded. They thought that our military could actually defend Canada against the American military if they decided to invade, which I thought was just absolutely laughable. The Canadian military is designed to be a very small add-on to the American military.
Well, I mean, like when you think about the quality of troops that Canada has, they've got a lot of quality troops. They got a lot of ass kickers that are, you know, looking to put terrorists in body bags, and there's no question about it. But you know, that's too aggressive, and you know, we don't talk that way. And the reality is that's what motivates young men and women to get into uniform. So if they're not, you know, resourced properly, funded properly, trained properly to even consider the reality and the seriousness of what a soldier's job is to do as a profession, then there's a disconnect from those who are in uniform and those who are making decisions on behalf of where those uniformed personnel are employed. So that's problematic. Second is what I would suggest is if this is motivation to instill or enlist Canadians as peacekeepers, man, the history repeats itself. Canadians went through the Bosnia crisis between Serbia and Croatia years ago. And, you know, there's a lot of good men and women that were in positions to try to, you know, remain a neutral, peaceful position. And look how that turned out. There were lots of dust-ups that happened where Canada was caught in the middle. So, like a peacekeeping mission in a situation between Ukraine and Russia, I'm not sure. A, like you said, I agree with you. It's not a practical choice. And B, those funds could be used for so many other better things to help our own troops right here in Canada.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you should have left the comment on, because whoever the commenter was very uneducated on the subject, because in multiple different videos, Carney called for maximum pressure on Russia. He even said out loud that Putin cannot be trusted. He compared him to Gorbachev, saying he's not like Gorbachev, and he started speaking Ukrainian, certain words calling out Putin. So it's not, you can say whatever you want as a peacekeeping measure. You don't start talking shit about Putin when we don't have the military to defend ourselves against Russia. Let's be honest here. If we can't fight the US, we definitely can't fight Russia. We can't fight China either.
Yeah.
All the respect in the world for you guys, but we don't have the troops to fight those
It's a number,
type of wars.
it's a numbers game and a funding game, right?
Yeah.
And even let's say that we did. Let's play devil's advocate and say that we did. Why the fuck are we even involved when we have so many problems here at home? Why are we even talking about being in Ukraine?
Yeah, I agree. That's a bigger question. Why don't we look within our own borders and clean up the mess in our own backyard before we start, you know, thinking about getting involved in, you know, foreign countries? I agree.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a question here for you, Randy, from commenter Bumpy Johnson. He said, what would Randy push a government to do with the military? Protect our interests in the Arctic, focus on recruitment and development. Is there anyone he sees as a potentially good defense minister?
I think
Bumpy.
I'll leave that up there, actually.
Yeah, a couple of really good questions there. I do think, you know, a presence in the North is important. What that looks like exactly, I'm not really sure. I've thought about this a little bit, where maybe we have some of the combat arms organizations within the Canadian Armed Forces that do kind of like rotos up in the North, where there's, you know, presence, there's an understanding of how to operate in those types of temperatures and climates, and have that education rotational, kind of like a deployment overseas, but doing it in the North. I think that would be a good approach. So yeah, I would definitely put a bit of emphasis on the North and the protection of the North. You know, like recruitment and development definitely needs a little bit of work. We need to recruit the right people to be in uniform. We need to incentivize a little bit. Like I've had this conversation a couple of times where money is not the only solution to fixing the military problem, but it definitely will help. It will incentivize and it'll motivate young troops to want to get involved. And then purpose, like what is the mission of the Canadian Armed Forces? What is the purpose right now in terms of protecting our own soil? What does that look like? Do I have somebody in mind as a potential CDS or, a leader at those upper levels? No, I would say I've been probably disconnected in the last 4 or 5 years a little bit on who is in the pipeline and has that potential. But I know there are good men and women that could definitely do the job. With that said, those who are maybe nominated or in the running for those positions ought to have some operational background. They ought to have a little bit of, sweat equity into the realities of what a conflict really looks like. Not somebody that is pushing a DEI agenda, not somebody that's been stuck behind a desk for the last 15 years, but somebody that's actually got some clout and, they know what it's like to be operational. I think that's really important. Somebody that's a yes ma'am or a yes sir individual is not a good fit for that position. That position needs to be someone who is okay with conflict, who is okay with pushing back, and who is okay to have an educated discussion that may not fall in line with what some of the higher echelon personnel in the federal government. I think they need to be okay with having those heated discussions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the biggest problem with David McGuinty, is that he's not ex-military. He's never been part of it. He's just a bureaucrat, basically, that's now responsible. That's now the defense minister, which makes zero sense. When I saw that announcement by Mark Carney, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, why is he there? What does he know about defense if he's never been in the military? But one of the questions I'd like for you to give a bit more perspective to, and it kind of goes off of what Bumpy was asking. What do you think is the biggest problem with recruitment? What do you think we need to do in order to put those, define what the good people are and how do we get them?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. Like, I think, there's no question that you choose to be fully transparent and call it as it is, or you can choose to kind of sugarcoat it. Like, there are certain numbers, certain demographics of personnel that are being recruited to fill positions in the Canadian Armed Forces. And I think that needs to stop. So whether or not somebody is from, India or Africa or wherever they're from, based on a demographic that they're trying to fill, that needs to stop. It needs to be the right person. So when young men and women come into a recruiting center, I think the first thing that is worthwhile to being addressed is whoever is in charge of those recruiting centers have to really care. They have to really give a shit about the Canadian Armed Forces, and they have to want to do their job extremely well. That way they're not misleading people or, falsifying the realities of what trade that person may be interested in getting into, and just tell the truth. Like, for an example, if somebody is straight off the boat from India and they want to be a Canadian and they want to leave whatever turmoil country they came from, I honor that. I admire that. However, if that same person is 120 pounds and they claim to want to be an infantry or soldier, like, guide them in a different direction. An infantry trade is going to break that person. They're going to underperform, and they're not optimal for that position. Tell the truth. Maybe find out what technical trade they might have, and find out if there's a position in the Canadian Armed Forces where they're using their brain instead of their body, and then flip that coin on the head and do the exact same thing with, that 24-year-old, former professional hockey player who is built like a truck, wants to fuck shit up, wants to break shit. Well, make him an infantry or soldier. He's the type of guy that you want carrying a rucksack, running a machine gun. It's not the 120-pounder that's straight off the boat who barely speaks English.
Yeah, it seems like recruitment's just based on just numbers for the sake of numbers. Quotas for the sake of quotas, not because they actually increase the effectiveness of the military. And I think I've still got friends in. I'm sure that you do. I think what I'm hearing is just, and this is a direct result of these policies that we're talking about here, just a total loss of warrior culture. The point of the military is to kill people. That is its point, right? And that's not nice. That's not a nice thing. But we're afraid to say that these days. Nowadays, the point of the military is to feel good about ourselves and to fill quotas and to have pride flags and paint pride crosswalks. And that just, what that does is it disincentivizes the people who should be in the military, frankly, the killers, right? Like, I'm not talking about sadistic, psychopathic killers. I'm talking about people who, I know you understand that. I'm just to the audience who might be listening. The people who they don't necessarily want to kill, but they are willing to do it and willing to do whatever needs to be done. Those are the people you want in the military. It doesn't matter if you meet all your recruitment goals. We could have a fully staffed military, but if it's staffed with purple-haired they thems, it's not going to be an effective military, right? And it's like the whole infrastructure, all the institutions of society. Obviously academia, obviously government, obviously the healthcare, but like even the military now, it's like it's completely forgotten its purpose, and all it cares about is getting the right number of brown people, the right number of women. I'm all for, and I'm sure that you are too, anyone who can fit the standards to be in. But if the standards mean that no women or no brown people or no Indians are in, so be it. That is what it is. Who cares? Because the military is the ultimate egalitarian culture, right? Nobody cares when you're in a foxhole what the color of the guy's skin is. All they care is can he do the job.
That's right. That's why a standard is a standard, regardless of your background, your demographic, and I agree. A standard is put in place for a reason. When the standards start to slide, what do you expect? The overall quality is going to slide as well. And then to that point too, the go-getters, the real pipe hitters that are still in uniform, they're kind of, they're discredited a little bit. They're insulted a little bit because now they're intermixed amongst these folks that really they don't truly deserve to be in uniform. And I mean this as genuine, and it may sound a bit harsh, but like, if I was CDS for a day, if I was the PM for a day, there's a strong possibility there'd be 25% of the Canadian Armed Forces who I'd probably fire because they don't hold themselves to any high standard of credibility or fitness levels. They're okay with looking like a slob in uniform. They're okay with, doing the bare ass minimum, spending more time finger fucking their phone than they're actually doing anything to prepare for war, to prepare for battle. And to be completely honest, and I mean that as respectfully as possible. It's like, listen, man, you got to go find something else to do because, your level of personal standard and the way that you carry yourself and the way you conduct yourself professionally is just not there. You got to go. And the reality is like, that 75% that are truly there with righteous intentions, they're unfortunately getting, kind of pushed into the shadow and shade because of these 25%.
Absolutely. One of the things that you do now is that you do a lot of work with law enforcement and military personnel. Like you train them on hand-to-hand combat. You train them on weapon operation. Like you and I have trained together. That's how we met almost 20 years ago. Goddamn. Do you realize we've known each other for almost 20 years, man? We met at a Walmart in Ottawa. Jesus. I had a full set of hair. No, it's not true. It's not true. I didn't have hair. But you deal with a lot of active personnel, both in the law enforcement and military. Can I ask, and feel free to not answer that question because it's your business. I'm not here to fuck it up for you, but what's their state of mind right now when it comes to the direction of Canada? Is that something you can speak to?
Yeah, like I get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls from mostly young men who are motivated and they have aspirations to get into the Canadian Armed Forces or get into tactical policing, and they're just looking for a little bit of guidance and a nudge on what direction to go. And I'd say over the last 6 months, I've had a lot of conversations where the individual has reached out, multiple individuals across the country have reached out, and they're kind of in a in contemplation phase. They're considering law enforcement, they're considering military. They see aspects of both professions that are enticing to them and interesting for them. So they ask, like, what do I recommend? And that's a tough question because I have to be very careful with the words that I choose because they could influence the individual. So I'm very cautious. And what I say is, in this current state of the Canadian Armed Forces right now, I do believe it's going to get better. I do. There's a lot of good things about the Canadian Armed Forces that unfortunately don't make the front page of National Post. A lot of good things. There is. Unfortunately, there's a lot of the negative that people get exposure to more so. With that being said, from a policing perspective, you know, they have their own frictions, they have their own issues that they're dealing with. But what I've been exposed to is a lot of the tactical policing organizations, and man, they are good people and they are doing good things and they're doing it every single day. And if I was 25 or 24 years old and I know now what you know I've learned over the last probably 6 months, I'd probably join a police force before I join the military, just because of the current state. But that being said, I'm also an optimist by choice, and I do believe that the military will get better. It will get better. It's probably going to take a serious set of circumstances before eyes are going to become wide open. And the unfortunate reality is usually that means conflict in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could not agree with you more. So just sort of on a personal note, I was curious, you know, when you served, like how long has it been since you left JTF, or I guess the military as well?
Yeah, I retired in 2019. So later part of 2019, and I had a couple of months to kind of get things up in order for the business of direct action. And then, you know, to January 2020, kind of hit the ground running. My old unit hired me for a contract. The RCMP hired me for a contract, and then COVID happened. And then, you know, it was almost 2 years where nobody was training, nobody was really moving, and nobody was certainly hiring external private contractors to provide training. So there was almost a 2-year hiatus there where nobody knew who I was or what I was doing. And it, you know, it was a tough struggle. But yeah, I left in 2019. I loved my time in uniform. I loved my time in the military. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I have nothing but love for the Canadian Armed Forces, you know, all aspects of the Canadian Armed Forces. And you know, I have a lot of love and respect for our law enforcement too. They don't get the respect that they deserve, in my opinion. But that being said, you know, I love my time in uniform. I love what I'm doing right now. There are more promising times in the horizon. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I love the optimism. So on that note, on this, you got out in 2019, and I don't know, you know, how much you're able to talk about this, but what we're talking about earlier, this sort of like, you know, DEI, I guess, woke sort of lack of warrior culture. Did that make it as far as JTF, or was that insulated? Yeah, and again, I don't know how much you're able to talk or wanting to talk about that.
Before you answer, Randy, I can tell you, as someone that I've known forever, you got him. He doesn't do that phase very often. That was a good question. You got him.
It's a very good question. Listen, the unit and the culture at the unit that I was so fortunate to be part of for 16 years. They have a strong culture. There's a lot of badass warriors in that organization.
Oh yeah.
We are not completely immune to the nonsense that sometimes falls. You know, our chain of command did a really good job trying to protect us from some of that nonsense. But the reality is we're still part of the Canadian Armed Forces.
Yeah.
So, right. You know, there's exposure, and the reality though is it's minimal compared to what some of the greater, you know, conventional forces are exposed to.
Gotcha. Very, very diplomatic answer. And
that's why I was laughing. But that's why I was laughing, because he's very good. He's very good at this. So I've recorded a bunch of podcasts with him in the past. Before I let you go, I wanted you to bring back a conversation that you and I has had multiple times, because I saw it in the comments somewhere. Somebody were saying that the youth should serve. You know, you and I have spoken about this. We like mandatory-ish. I don't like mandatory, but like a public service. If you want higher education, you should serve the public. So 6 months, you do your 6 months military, like your entry military training as a minimum, so that everybody knows how handle a gun, how to clean a gun, how to take orders, how to be part of a team. And then the next year and a half you can serve there, or pick up shit on the side of the sidewalk. You can fix streets. You can serve your community, right? Is that still something? Do you think that's something that we should implement here in Canada?
I think it would be very beneficial. I do. I think, a mandatory service between 18 and 20 years old would be good for, it'd be good for Canada. It'd be good for the citizens of Canada that fall into that bracket where they learn to give to something that is greater than themselves. Right. So it would bring an element of pride, I think, to being a Canadian and serving the country. It would also provide structure and understanding of organizational skills, time management skills. But the biggest one I think that service in the military would do is it would really highlight how important it is to know what it's like to be dependable. When somebody to your left and to your right is relying on you to do your job really well, there's an element of pride that goes along with doing your job really well because somebody to your right and to your left is expecting you to do your job really well. So I do think there'd be benefit to it. What it would look like and how it would roll out exactly, I'm not sure. I mean, there's other countries that are doing it. I think the level of pride that a Canadian would feel after providing that service, and it's only 2 years. I mean, 2 years goes pretty quick. So I do think it would be a good idea. Another thing that I think would be a good idea too, since we were talking about it earlier, is the recruiting piece. If we were to maybe consider hiring civilians where we incentivize, we treat it like a business, where we would incentivize a recruiter, where they would proactively, look for certain demographics and certain potentials, whether it's in a university or a sports team or whatever, they go find them, they pitch it to them. And if that individual, so if the recruiter finds somebody from whatever, local high school football team, they help guide them to the military, and then they see them succeed in the military, that recruiter gets something, like whether it's a financial incentive or something. But I think that would make it a little bit more proactive, but there would be some clout and there'd be a little bit of sweat equity in the game where that recruiter would see an opportunity, find that person, get their attention, and then follow them through their journey. And then once they become a successful member in the Canadian Armed Forces, well done. Here you go. Here's a bonus of X amount of dollars or whatever. I think that would be our way to do it. Now, that means there would be an allocation of funds that need to come from somewhere to do that. But if we're serious about creating a fighting force in the Canadian Armed Forces, we need good people, not just people that can break stuff. Right? We need those people, don't get me wrong, but we need people that can think, and we need people that can think differently, people that are very tech savvy, people that are software savvy. We need all sorts of those different people, not just people that can run a machine gun. Now, don't get me wrong, because I'm a little bit biased. We need those guys, and we need more of them. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead, Nico.
Oh, I was just going to ask if there's a question you want to take out there, because I just wanted to have you on the show. I want to have you many more times. Every time it makes sense, I want to have you on. And before I forget, I need one of your hats again, man. Can't find mine.
No problem.
We need to talk about his hats are so cool. They're orange. So
what are they?
I love
JTF hats?
No, it's the direct action. It's his brand.
Oh, yeah.
He gave one to me years. See, they're clean as shit.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Great publicity.
Is that yeah, so I mean, is that I guess before you go, if you want to plug anything, plug direct action. Like, so what is that? Is that you go around and train police forces?
Yeah, I would say in the last 2 years, probably 60% of revenue generated has been through law enforcement contracts, providing firearms training, defensive tactics, and CQB training. And then probably 20% towards military. A lot actually with CanSoftCom. So pretty fortunate. I'm very grateful and blessed to be able to provide for the folks that, I was once part of. And then the other 20% of the revenue is I still entertain some general public and civilian training. I'm just very cautious with the civilian training. I try to vet those folks as best as I possibly can before I provide training for them, because I just don't know what their intentions are, just don't know what their backgrounds are. So I try to do what I can to vet them. But with that being said, there's a lot of good Canadians, man, that just want they just want good quality training. They want to be prepared. They want to know how to understand situational awareness. They want to know how to be proactive if something should fall on their doorstep. They just want to be prepared, and I admire that and I respect that.
We had fun, you and I, when we went to the shooting range. That was always fun.
Yeah, man.
We have to do it again, man. It's been a while.
Absolutely.
We have to do it again, man.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it, man. Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Rob? Because I'm just a fan of Randy. So
yeah, I can see the
we've not when you meet people by bro, when you meet someone by punching him in the face, there's a certain type of respect. I have respect for the people that punch me in the face. Yeah.
A bond is formed.
It's something that you don't get anywhere else, right? Punching people
my
in the face.
nose has not been right since you, Nico. My nose is
There's a little height difference, though. It's not fair. We have a little weight difference between the two of us.
That's funny.
But it's a pleasure, bro. It was cool having you on. Is there something you want to plug, like Rob was saying?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just finish off. Like, listen, and I cannot, stress enough. I loved my time in uniform. I absolutely know to the core of my being what I'm doing right now is what I was meant to do. Like, I know it to the core of my being. It never feels like work. I absolutely love providing training for those who are in uniform and who can use it and benefit from it. So yeah, like, I don't look in the rearview mirror very much. I'd say probably when I left the military, the first 6 months was the hardest to try to kind of find my new identity. But now I'm on my way. I got a good stable of instructors that help me out with DA, and it's just growing, man. It's I'm really excited to see where the next 5 years take us.
Yeah, that what you're talking about there, that loss of identity when you leave the military, that really resonates with me. I think I think probably almost everyone has that sort of struggle. So I'm really glad to see that it worked out for you. I had a lot of fun. Obviously, Nico is just crushing hard over there. So we'd love to have you back anytime you want to come back. Anytime we have a sort of friends of the show list for sort of specialty guests. Obviously, there's some niche. We've got a human rights lawyer, but anytime there's a topic come up with the military niche, I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, anything I can provide, I'm happy to, man. Thanks for the invite. We'll do
not sure to Randy for seeing the comments there, but there's been a ton of support. Just people thank you for your service.
Amazing.
And really appreciating the conversation. So it's definitely been well received.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the viewers, logging in and saying a few kind words. The reality is there are a lot of snakes in the grass. There are a lot of naysayers that are, happy to cast shade on the good stuff. I'm the opposite, man. I'm trying to highlight the good stuff. And I think it's important. We have folks like you highlighting when, these so-called leaders that are in certain positions and make decisions on behalf of Canadians that are out of line as the majority would like to see it. We need to push back. We need to, voice our opinions, but do it intelligently. If we simply point fingers and, criticize without any tangible data to substantiate what it is that we're trying to support, then really we're not going to get any farther ahead. So I do, I appreciate and respect what you guys are doing. And for Canadians out there abroad, we, generally speaking, we need a change and we need it soon. And the only way that we're going to change is by being the change that we want to see and having those tough conversations, but doing it in an intelligent manner with respect. And otherwise it's just going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, very well said. Could not agree more. Appreciate that, Randy.
Awesome.
Thanks
all right,
for being
fellas.
here, bro.
My pleasure. Well, you guys take care of yourself, man, and reach out anytime. I look forward to chatting again in the future.
Hey, take care.
Talk to you soon, brother.
Hey, cheers.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
He's a cool
Great
dude,
chat.
man.
He's a cool
He's
guy.
just a cool dude.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He
used to fight MMA professionally.
Well, I mean, once he told me he was JTF, it's just those, like, one of the biggest parts of selection for those guys is psychological. They look for character guys, high character guys. I don't think they take someone who wasn't, a high character, high quality person.
No, he is such a you know, the thing I like the most about Randy is not his background, is how calm he always is.
Well, that's
But that
exactly what
dude,
I mean.
that
Yeah.
dude is a beast.
Oh yeah,
Do not be fooled.
Dude.
Oh fuck!
Controlled
We've
violence
had-
is their
yeah.
bread and butter. They use it as a tool.
Yeah, we've had so many conversation off the record that I'll never talk about, and it's just, he's just a beast, man. He's just a beast, but he's such a nice guy. He is literally the type of dude that will give you his shirt off his back if you need it. If you see somebody in the street that needs help, he's gonna help. He's just a naturally good dude.
Yep.
But he has quite the background. So he's
yeah.
I love guys like that. You don't know. You look at this. Well, no, actually you do know, because his face is a bit fucked up. His ears are destroyed because
oh
of
yeah,
MMA.
yeah. Some
So if you look at it, you're like, you're not surprised. And he's ripped, right? He's actually he's always, he's like you and I, always keeps in phenomenal shape.
Yep.
But if you follow him on YouTube, it's all he talks about, right? He always shows videos of him training people. He's a badass. Like, he's really a badass. He's just a cool dude. Just a cool dude. So
yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed Randy. I'm anytime we need somebody with a military background to make sense of something, definitely him that I'm gonna have in mind. And
definitely be the go-to.
It's a lot easier to book him at this time too, because he's always working during the day, right?
That's right. Yep.
So that
No,
kind of
I
works
think
out
it's,
for us.
in general, it's probably a lot easier to book anyone at this time slot.
Oh, by the way, talking about that, I should have said this because we do have two other guests this week. Tomorrow, we're talking to Adam Swart, the founder of Crowds on Demand and the original architect of paid protesters in the U.S. So Adam Swart is showing up on the show 8:30 tomorrow. This is going to be interesting.
The paid protester guy. Yeah. I'm kind of curious.
Because
I've got some
I told the PR firm that represents him when they approached me to have him on the show, I'm like, I'm happy to have him on the show, but it's not going to be an easy ball. Like, I'm going to question his morality.
Not gonna be softball.
Like, I made it clear that I got questions and they're not going to be good questions for him, because I want to know, like, I don't agree with this type of shit, but they reached out. So I'm very interested in talking to guys like that. And on Wednesday, we are talking to former MPP for Carleton, Ottawa, Ontario, political analyst, human rights advocate Goldie Gamari, about what she calls Islamofascism. So she's Iranian born. Her parents came here when she was 1 or 2 years old. Very proud Canadian. She used to be part of the Ontario Conservative Party. Very outspoken about Islam. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation. So she's going to show up. She's a lawyer, very well spoken, and old MPP. It's going to be cool. She'll be here on Wednesday to talk about Islamofascism, as she calls it.
Nice. I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
That should be fun.
Yeah. And I reached out to a few more people to have on the show. I just won't say who yet. I'm still waiting on answers, but I'm always looking for some people. And for the new people out there, this is the whole point. Like, my email address is running in the bottom, info@nicolagan.com. If you guys have stories you think we should cover, I'll happily research it and bring them on if I think it makes sense. Obviously, it needs to make sense. But if you have guests you think we should have on, email me, info@nicolagan.com. I'm happy to reach out to people. I do it all the time. I love to have great guests on the show, and that's something that I think we bring that most people don't do. So if there's people you think we should talk about, there's stories we should cover, let us know. The whole point is for you guys to be able to impact the show directly. So
100%. Sylvie says Daniel Tyree from the Dominion Society has done several interviews. Are willing to have him on. Don't know who that is, or
she asked me. I'm not impressed, seriously. Like, I've listened to some of his show, and I don't know why you want him here.
What's his thing?
We can talk afterwards. It's he has a political party out of Alberta, and he's very outspoken. Okay. Let's just say that he's very, very outspoken. I just don't know what it brings to the table. Like, at the end of the day, I want to bring people that bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Is he,
I don't.
is he conservative? Is he like what's his position?
You'd call him a right wing person. Yeah.
Okay.
He's on the right side of things. It's just he's the type of guy I would want to talk to first. I wouldn't just bring him on the show without having a personal conversation with the guy first, because I don't know the guy. I like to talk to those people first, but
yeah,
I don't know, Sylvie. I looked into it. I did not see the reason why to bring him on. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it.
Max Ski says Islamofascism. WTF is she smoking? I mean, I assume she just means the sort of authoritarian bent of many Muslim immigrants to the West now. You know, the whole shutting down streets to pray. The whole, you know,
Hold on.
We've all seen videos of imams in the West, you know, in the United States, in the UK, who are preaching basically, you know, things that are very antithetical to Western values, such as, you know, equality of rights for women, homosexuals.
Instead of trying to understand, here she is. There's a video of her. Yeah, there's a video of her. I'm going to play the first 1 minute and 52. I wanted to do it, so I might as well do it right now so that you guys get an idea. But this is Goldie Gamari when she was still MPP for Carleton.
You know, Madam Speaker, when my parents immigrated to Canada in 1986, I was a year old. And the reason that they immigrated to Canada from Iran is because in 1979, there was an Islamic revolution, and our once free and democratic country was taken over by radical Islamists, was taken over by terrorists, and was taken over by fascists who actually executed over 40,000 communists in the late 80s. And so my parents escaped in 1986 because they wanted to live in a free and democratic society. And I was a year old at the time. And we were blessed to be able to come to Canada to escape that hatred, to escape that radical fundamentalist Islamo-fascist ideology. And that's the same regime, Madam Speaker, that denies the Holocaust. That's the same regime that spreads anti-Semitic information and propaganda, not just inside the Islamic regime of Iran, but around the world and through its proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah and others. And so when we came to Canada, my parents raised myself and my younger sister, always telling us how blessed we are to be Canadian.
That's the part I like.
We should always put Canada first. Never forget your heritage, never forget your culture, never forget your background, but always remember that you are first and foremost a proud Canadian. And what that means, Madam Speaker, is you come here to embrace culture and diversity and accept people for who they are, and you leave the problems of your home country behind.
So there you go. That gives you an idea. The speech goes for something like 10 minutes. But yeah, that gives you an idea who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, she sounds. She'd be a great guest, I think.
She will be, because she'll be here. So
yep. Definitely like to chat with her, and I'd like to see. I would like hear about why they, you know, specifically why they left Iran. I think that'd be an interesting conversation. And
but the one from tomorrow too, though, Adam Swart too. That's going to be very interesting. Talking to a guy that owns a company that sends paid protesters to protest from both sides of the equation. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's super sketchy. Maxky says, "Be careful. I don't trust her." Well, I mean, like, what do you mean? I guess why? But also, you know, she's all she can do is say words, and then we can assess those words as she says them, whether they're you know, at the end of the day, you know, the only thing that really matters is the strength of an argument. It doesn't really matter who says it. If she says some bullshit, then it'll sound like bullshit.
Yeah, evil comes in a fluffy packaging.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that fluffy packaging is evil.
Wow, there you go. Dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, I think I assume what you're taking is, don't be necessarily don't assume that something that comes in a fluffy package can't be evil, but I think it's not necessarily wise, and I think that is wise, but I think it's also not wise to assume that something that does come in a fluffy package is evil.
You think she's that big?
No, I think he just means like.
I'm kidding. I know what he's.
I thought she was cute.
I'm
kidding.
I'm kidding. I know what she is.
Yeah. I thought she was pretty.
I just like the story. I just like the story because remember the girl that we had on the show that I went to meet at a protest in Montreal that organizes protests against the Muslim praying in front of the church, the Notre Dame Basilique in Montreal. We had her on the show. I just can't remember what her name is off the top of my head, but she was the same. Like she's from Iran.
Yeah,
she grew up there, and she like, guys, you don't want that here. Like just look at what I love the videos that showed what they were wearing prior to the revolution and what they're wearing now.
Yeah.
Like women. If you think that the crack in the headband is Iranian culture, it ain't. This is just something that's been happening since the late 70s.
Yeah,
that was not there prior to that.
That's right.
So it's just, if that's what you want to live in, no problem. There are plenty of countries in the Middle East where that's what they do. Don't bring that shit here. That's all I'm saying. So I like when people that are non-Christian that are actually atheists. The girl that we had on the show was an atheist. She doesn't do that for religious belief. She just does that as in they will take over your culture. That's not what you want in Canada. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I left Iran in the first place, to arrive here to end up in the same place I was over there. No, that's not the point. Same thing as a video that I brought up from a Canadian from Lebanon that was explaining how, guys, what we're seeing right now is exactly what happened before Hezbollah. Don't do that. This is how they get in. Don't do it. Be careful what you wish for. That's not why I came here. I immigrated here to run away from Hezbollah.
From that
not
shit, yeah.
to find it back here. That's not why I'm here. So I think we need to listen to the people that went through it instead of being cocky as in, oh, it's never going to happen here. That's probably what they thought too. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, exactly, right? And the thing is I think people don't really realize. I think they think that like Lebanon was always Islamic majority or dominated by Muslims, but it wasn't. It was Christian. They were tolerant, and they brought in a large number of Muslims. And once they reached that critical mass, it flipped. The switch flipped, and that's the pattern that has happened all over. Like Afghanistan. I saw a picture on social media the other day. The native Afghan dress for women was beautiful. It was colorful. It was like this flowing dress. The burqa is not any aspect of native Afghanistan culture or dress. It's Islam. It's Islam. It comes in and it locks down women because women are fundamentally property. They're second-class citizens. They're not even like, they won't admit that, but in practice they are. And in the West, we need to be open. We need to open our eyes about this. But again, as Gad says suicidal empathy, and it will become suicidal if we don't smarten up soon, as in yesterday. Tomorrow's too late.
I just want to address Sylvie. Why won't you speak to him then, Nico? Is it a YouTube demonetization? No, it has nothing to do with YouTube. I don't see the interest. Like, I don't understand what the big deal is with
what does he talk
that
about?
guy. Especially, he talks about like the Dominion Society of Canada is described as a vanguard movement promoting Canadian nationalism and immigration reform to preserve the distinct Canadian.
Basically, he's not going to say anything that we haven't already heard before.
That's my point. Like, I don't see the interest. I don't see what he brings to the table. That's the point. It's not that I don't agree with what he's saying. I just don't see what does he bring. I talk about this shit every day, so I don't understand why we need to have him on the show. Like, I want the guest to bring something to the equation. It's not a selling platform for people to come here and promote their views. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I want to bring people because it's something's going on right now that needs to be addressed. So I just don't see it, Sylvie. I don't understand what the big what the crush is on that guy, because I've listened to multiple of his videos and there's nothing. I wasn't impressed by anything he had to say. I like to be mind blown. I like to bring professional here, people that know more than I do, and I'm just like, why? Why would I bring him here? I don't see it. I just don't see it. Convince me. Like, if there's something I'm missing here, I apologize, but I just do not see it. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who the guy is, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. I mean, if he's just like kind of like Christian nationalism, it's just, it sounds like probably the same stuff that you're gonna say pretty much all the time, anyways. We what are they called? The Dominion Society?
The Dominion Society of Canada.
Yeah,
and they
Canadian nationalism, immigration reform. Yeah, I mean, we all agree. You know, we need immigration reform. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if we need to bring on someone to tell us things we already agree with. Things that we say every single day.
Because again, I'm just looking at their Facebook right now. They're talking about stuff I was talking about 2 weeks ago. Like, when was it last week that I was talking about the IMP? Now everybody's talking about it. I'm like, I was the first one to start talking about this last week or the week before. So why do I bring people that are basically repeating what I was saying a week ago? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Yes.
Either way, I appreciate your recommendation, Sylvie, because some of the guests in the past that you suggested were great. I can't remember which one, but there's a couple I know for a fact that you're the one that suggested them, and we had them on, and they were great. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't stop suggesting.
Exactly.
Don't stop suggesting.
Not every single guest is going to be a great fit, but yeah, I know. Please keep it coming for sure. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I mean, I think Sylvie's probably mostly into the remigration thing, because that's their thing. But yeah, I mean, it's a thing, I guess. I'm trying to read about it. I don't know how, like, what do you do? How do you get rid of everyone, every immigrant? Do you like remove green cards you've already given out? Do you remove citizenship? Because I think that would be a hard sell.
Again, Sylvie, I don't know why you always do that. Like, when we say no to you, you kind of lose. You kind of just keep on. Now you're bashing what we did on Saturday. I don't get it. Like, I just don't get that. On Saturday evening, you had 5 people speaking about what we've been speaking about for 5 years. There's nobody out there that said what we said out loud on Saturday. Maybe you speak about it to your friends, but you did not have the equivalent of about 1.5 million followers. Because between the people that were there, we had some of the biggest names in Canada talking about this stuff. And some of the other biggest names that are supposedly conservative won't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. So what we talked about on Saturday was something that conservative voices will not touch. Poliev doesn't have the balls to talk about that. The other conservative don't have the balls to talk about that. Like, this is the type of shit that, to me, needs to be addressed. That's why we talk about it on Saturday, because it's a more relaxed environment. Yeah, I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, finish up. I want to.
No. It's just I just don't understand what the big hard on is for this guy. I just don't get it. I just don't understand. I don't get it.
Dan says all religions should practice their faith in the designated areas. Agreed, for sure. But let us all remember, Christians on the West have been responsible for some of the largest atrocities. This is that sort of like left-wing navel gazing that's like, it's irrelevant. I agree with you. You're right. Christians 500-600 years ago were responsible for some of the largest atrocities. But today it's Muslims. Why would we care what happened 500 years ago when it's going on today? What's going on today? That's like saying we shouldn't worry about cancer because 500 years ago, the bubonic plague killed much more people than cancer. Sure it did, but it doesn't today. So who cares? It's Islam today. That is the issue. That is the problem. It's just
consider the fact that Christian built this North America, not
Yeah,
Muslim.
yeah, and
Like-
exactly, it is a Christian
So-
culture. It's Christian values, and I like you know, I'm like what's the Spanish Inquisition? Great example. Yeah, super terrible thing, super bloody, a terrible atrocity. But also, who cares? Because we're not really worried about the past. It's just that classic sort of woke left mindset of obsessing about the past and using shit that is irrelevant from the past to make your decisions about what's important today and ignoring the thing that's the actual problem. It's just you know, I don't get the point of it. At the end of the day, that has nothing to do with whether Muslims should be allowed to block streets today. It isn't Christians doing that. It's Muslims. And it isn't about prayer. It is about it's a show of force. It's an act of dominance. They're bending you over and fucking you. And they're saying, you're going to do whatever we say, and we're going to do whatever we want. There's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. And if you don't have a problem with it, that's fair. But it's entirely fair to have a problem with that. You know, and also they're right. We haven't done a goddamn thing about it. But that's why, you know, people like us are talking about it, because it is time to start doing something about it. And no one's talking about going after the Muslims. We're simply talking about apply law and policy equally to everybody. You're not going to allow Christians to shut down Bloor Street or major streets in the West in order to pray. Don't allow Muslims. It doesn't need to go any deeper than that. We don't need to talk about what the Christians did 5 years. That's just irrelevant whataboutism.
You know what? New Dog is bang on, and I'm saying this as a Christian.
Yes.
Pay where you want, pray where you want,
Absolutely.
just don't block public access. It's pretty simple.
I promise you, if
Pretty
Christians were doing that, I'd be saying fuck them too. Like, they shouldn't be doing it either, but they're not, right? Why? So if and when they do, then I'll talk about them being a problem. But they're not.
And the other thing to mention, about that is that we did not need to be told that we weren't supposed to do that. We just didn't. This is the problem that I'm seeing right now, is that you look at Quebec wanting to ban public prayers. Sure, it sounds cool to say we want to stop those things, but that was not needed 10 years ago. We didn't need to tell Christians to not block the biggest intersections in Montreal, the biggest parks in Montreal, to take over them to publicly pray. You didn't have to tell us that. We knew that. We had respect for that. That's why we go to churches. The problem right now is, as you said, they use that as a show of force.
Yep.
They are taking advantage of the fact that it is not illegal. Technically, it is illegal, but they're taking advantage of the fact that we're not going to apply the law.
We're not enforcing it
to them
because we're not applying the law equally, and that is the problem.
100%. Because it is Christian pastors that are getting arrested. At least 5 of them over the past 5 years have been arrested, had to spend thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in court defending themselves to not go to prison for preaching on the corner of a street, not in the street, on the sidewalk, not in the street blocking Bloor and Yonge in Toronto. No, on the sidewalk. They get arrested and they go to jail. Like,
yeah, and
come on,
yeah, like 100%. And it is, you know, as Jim says, extremists are the problem. They interfere with others' liberty, no matter what kind they are. Like 100%, I agree with you. However, we also need to be honest and open our eyes about the reality on the ground. And yes, there are Christian extremists. Yes, there are Muslim extremists. Yes, there are Muslim moderates. But if you look at the actual numbers, there are far more Muslim extremists, and Muslim extremists, or what we would consider extremists, are the dominant strain of thought in Islam, in the Muslim world. That's just a fact. There are very few actual Christian extremists, and if and when they gain in number, then I will also be speaking out about them. It's just such a simple concept. Apply the law equally to everybody. If someone responds to that. If someone responds to that with but what about, I'm not interested in anything else you have to say, because you're not a good faith debater. Anyone who would disagree with the statement, simply factual statement, apply the law equally. Then if you disagree with that, or you want to be like, oh yeah, well, But what about, and I'm not even picking on you, Jim, or sorry, Dan. I'm not saying that you're doing that. I'm just sort of speaking broadly. Anyone who could disagree with that, then I already know everything I need to know about what you're going to say.
You just cannot say that what happened in Europe is not what's going to happen here if we're not careful. Look at what's going on in Europe, and it started the exact same way.
And that's
Christian countries accepted a bunch of people that did not value their culture.
Yep. Who hated
plain and simple.
Who wanted to change
plain
it.
and simple.
They came to change it.
Yes.
They came
and
to
that's
change
it. And that's a fact. You have so many imams out there in the US and in Canada that are talking about that openly. You had two police officers.
Fuck out the second you say something like that.
Do you remember the two police officers out of Toronto on Toronto police premise wearing Toronto police uniform, sitting on a police with the emblem on the table of the Toronto police saying how October 7th was a great day for Islam? They're recording a podcast on Toronto premise in gear as police officers on a podcast saying that October 7th was a great day for them because they gained a bunch of people back to Islam. I don't remember what the term was, but because in their views, everybody's born is born
it's
a
like
Muslim.
It's like something.
Yeah,
like,
I don't remember what the term is, but they were celebrating the fact that
reconversion or something like that. I don't know.
But you go back to your natural state of being a Muslim because everybody's born a Muslim. But if you're not a Muslim, that means you're not your true self. But the point is that you had police officers of the Toronto police on premise in gear of Toronto recording a podcast for the Toronto police, and they were saying that October 7th was a great day for Islam because a bunch of people came back. Reverts, I think was the term.
Reverse, that's right.
So I'm like, can you imagine if we're going to celebrate the fact that we killed a few hundred people in gear, not even at home, in gear representing the Toronto police. Those people didn't get canned. Nothing happened to those people. You would never see that from a bunch of Christians doing that. So stop the hypocrisy. Let's be honest here. There are a two-tier system in Canada, and the favored identity group in this case is Islamists. They are Muslims, plain and simple. If you don't see this, just open your eyes. Go to Montreal. Go where I am right now. Insane how much it changed over the past 5 years. It's unrecognizable.
A lot of people say stuff
when I was living on the island for years. Then I moved to the woods during COVID. Then I traveled the US for 3 years. I'm coming back home now and I'm like, what the fuck happened to Montreal? What the fuck happened to Montreal? Insane. I don't recognize the city I was born in. I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, and you hear that from
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm just going to take one more from Bumpy. Bumpy says, but Rob, you said Christians aren't praying in the streets. There's no real double standard until it is shown to exist. If the law is not being applied to Muslims, Christian may need to violate it. I think that's probably the best strategy, to actually start praying in the streets the way Muslims do, and then wait for the arrests, because they will come.
No.
And
the best way to do it? The best way to do it, start bringing barbecues around Muslim praying and fry some fucking bacon.
That also works. Yeah.
Done. You don't need the thing is why is it the job of Christians to do that? Why can't atheists just say treat everybody the same? I don't want to see a clash between Christian and Muslims because this is what the government wants.
Yeah, that's fair.
They want two separate groups to go head to head. It becomes violent. And what do they have now? Martial law. I don't want to see that. I believe in making fun of people. I was talking about it yesterday. The best way to protest your government, to protest the people that you don't like, make fun of them. You want to piss them off? Bring some barbecue right next to where they're praying and grill some barbecue, grill some bacon. This is the dumbest thing ever, but it's a joke. I like to make fun of people. I like to laugh at them. There you go.
One thing we say regularly here is, look what's going on in the UK. An example of that, a couple weeks ago, a young man, I don't know, 16, 17, 18, they were at some kind of protest. He yelled out, I love bacon.
I love bacon.
I love bacon. And he got arrested and charged with a crime. I don't care if you're right, left, whatever. If you aren't deeply disturbed by that. Like there's something wrong, man. This is the UK is going down a very, 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 very dark path, and we aren't there yet. But to say it can't happen here, I guarantee you, people in the UK thought it couldn't happen there. There's a lot of people in the UK who still don't even know what's happening because that shit is not getting reported in the mainstream media.
And you're missing the point, Bumpy. I'm not saying that atheists should defend.
Well, I'm an atheist, and I'm not defending Christianity. I'm defending fairness.
But that's my point. This is not even a religious battle. I don't want it to become a religious battle because this is what the government wants. This is the point I'm trying to make. It's very simple. Put two people that their culture does not align, they will clash. I don't want Christian to clash with Muslims because you know what's going to happen? My rights as a Christian are going to be taken away. Look at what's going on in the province where I am. The government is saying that they're going to ban public prayers. Yes, they're talking to Muslims, but that will impact everybody else. What does that mean now?
Well,
does that mean that St. Patrick celebration, that's a Catholic-based celebration, is that considered a prayer? Because here in small Italy, those people actually celebrate that. All around Montreal, they celebrate St. Patrick. Technically, that's a religious celebration. Does that mean that the people don't have the right to pray as part of the celebration, like to start the celebration with a prayer, to finish with a prayer? Is that what it means? I don't want that. I don't like bans. No matter what they are, I don't like when people ban shit. I don't like it. Yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is you don't need to be a Christian to see what's going on is wrong. If you look at the law, it needs to be applied. It needs to be the same for everybody. Yeah. And it is not what we're seeing in Canada. It's plain and simple. That's all I'm saying.
And also, like at the end there, Bumpy says it's on Christians to stand up if they feel threatened. It isn't about Christians being threatened. I feel threatened. I'm an atheist. I don't particularly care about Christianity as a, like, I don't care about the strength of the religion. I have a real problem with any individual religious group who's allowed to do things that no one else is. And those things that they're doing is shutting down public infrastructure. Like, I don't even get how there could be any, like, yeah, but what about this? But what about that to this debate? It's just really, really, really simple. Muslims should not be allowed to pray. Nobody should be allowed to shut down streets to pray. The fact is, it's only Muslims doing it, and that's why we're talking about Muslims. And yes, I will use Christians when I say, oh, Christians can't do that, just because they're, in my mind, the natural opposite. But you could add Buddhists if you wanted to. You could add Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, those are the same thing. Any other religion, any other group, what have you. It's just, you can't shut down the fucking streets. It's not, it doesn't need a deeper, like, nuanced discussion or context. You just can't do it. And you have to apply the law equally. And when we see with our very eyes that the law is not being applied equally, it's entirely appropriate to speak out against that. In fact, I would say it's our duty to do so. We've gone a few minutes, 15 minutes over. We should probably pin her there. Right?
Agreed.
Yes. All right, guys. Excellent conversations, excellent debates. Bumpy, always, obviously sometimes there's always some back and forth, but do always appreciate the banter, the debate. But we're going to pin it there because we have gone 15 minutes over. Hopefully, guys, if you are new to the show, and you like what we do here, if you want to be part of the community, if you think that it's important to have a space that like me and Nico are creating here, please, first of all, like and share the stream. That's real easy. But please consider becoming a member. That is only $2.99 a month. You can do that through your YouTube. I think it's just somewhere on your screen there. And that will help, that will allow us to continue bringing high quality content like we do every day. And it will really support the show as well as support independent media. Jim says, you guys, Jim says, awesome show. Mark Trouble says, you guys aren't right wing enough. Well, I'm a liberal. So no, I'm definitely not right wing enough.
I'm right wing, but the whole point is not a conservative show. A point is common sense between the left and the right. But if you want more conservative, join me on Wednesday. I record with David Creighton, the Conservative Corner. Join us on Saturday night. This is mostly conservative, and we're talking about the real shit. The shit that we need to be careful about.
Yep. As Trevor Ben says, share the show, bring up those numbers. You know what though? Behind the scenes, the numbers are really, really, really doing very well since we.
Bro,
that's just lazy. That's just intellectual laziness, man. Like you do have to step your game up a little bit on this show. Like, if you want to just do that, that's like 99% of the rest of the internet. If you disagree with one of the points or any of the points we're making, by all means, disagree and explain why we're wrong, and we'll engage with you. But yeah, just like, libtard.
All I'm going to say, Mark, is that I'm more conservative. I'm more of a Republican than I am a conservative. There's no conservative in Canada. But the point, what's the point of me arguing with him when we agree on about 80% of stuff? The whole point is to be able to show that the left and the right have a lot more in common than they don't. And you calling people name is the exact fucking problem that I see from both the right.
This is why we created
right in Canada. Yes, because right now in Canada, I'm hated as much by the conservative as I am from the liberals, because people don't want to call out their own leaders. I call out my conservative leaders just the way I call out the liberals. But to start calling me name because you don't agree, you got to step up your game, like you're saying. Show your work, bro, because that's the same bullshit we see everywhere else on the internet. So if you want to have a show, if you want an echo chamber, there's plenty of fake conservative shows out there that you can go on and bitch on the liberals. But this ain't fixing any problem. We need to find common ground instead of pissing people off and insulting each other from over the fence. It does not fucking matter. You're not moving the needle. So I would say that your frame is outdated, my friend, not mine.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we're wrong, then disagree with us and try to convince us. Like both Nico and I have been wrong on this show before. We have been convinced. So, but that means you're going to have to bring your A game. You're going to have to show your work. You're going to have to actually make an argument. That's what the show is all about. So I see your
thanks for your comment though.
Yeah. New commenter. Great. We're going to end the show here now, but come back tomorrow. And if we're wrong, then persuade us that you're right. And if you make a persuasive argument, then you'll probably convince us. Yep. Other than that, guys, have a great rest of your night. Be safe. We will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Peace.